Tsidi, as we go into the 55th National Conference of the ANC, we've got two kings in the castle, don't we? How's it going to play out? Who's going to control this board?
We definitely have two kings. You know, I must very quickly say, there might be two wannabe queens in the background, but I discount them. I've been calling them non-starters this entire period. I will continue in that vein. That's Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma and Lindiwe Sisulu. So on one end, you've got Zweli Mkhize, right? Digitally so, you want whatever you want to call him, digital vibes, whatever scandal you want to attach to him, Mr. 10%, those allegations are what they are, they exist, right? Then you've got the incumbent, President Cyril Ramaphosa, president of the ANC, a pala scandal that seems to be growing bigger every single day. He, though, as we speak now, is leading the race. He is dominating the nominations across provinces.
And it's quite extraordinary. I mean, both men have financial issues, irregularities that's underpinning their campaign. It doesn't really seem to make much of a difference, does it?
Jen, I've always argued that the logic that we use as outsiders is not the same as what's applied by members of the ANC. And you're seeing that because these people, on any other given day, anywhere else in the world, should not be considerations. That cannot be the top leaders that you want to put in power, who have scandals at the level that they have. Zweli Mkhize can stand there and say he did nothing wrong as far as the legal considerations are concerned with the digital vibe scandal. But his child is intrinsically linked to that scandal. So that says something about his ethics and his morality. Ramaphosa, never mind pala. I want you to go back 5 years ago to Nasrec and those CR17 bank statements that he does not want unsealed. That for me, again, is a question of how transparent you really are, and again, a question around your ethics and your morals as a leader. If you are not willing to show us how you got there.
So the only person who really seems to be moving at great speed at this stage is Paul Mashatile.
It's Paul. I wish I could actually use him as a bishop in a different color altogether, not attach him to anybody, because he really is his own man. He's been dubbed the Holy Trinity in the ANC. And the reason why he's called the Holy Trinity, Jane, is because he's occupying three key positions in the top officials. He is the Treasurer General, who was meant to be overseeing the money in the ANC.
Which doesn't say much about his control over there.
Absolutely, when you think about how salaries have not been paid on and off for months, for years, I'm lying, not months, for years on end. So he's got that position. Then by accident, as some of his supporters like to say, he found himself controlling the secretariat completely. One, because Ace Makashule was suspended. Then the Deputy Secretary General, Jesse Duarte, who took over, then also passed on. And so Paul had to step in and control those three positions. Hence, he's called the Holy Trinity.
So it's certainly not going to be dull, but we know that it's all about the money. Us journalists, the media houses, they wanted to charge us for covering. So is there going to be free coffee when we're there at least?
The money factor is an interesting one with the ANC in 2022. They want to blame everything on the Party Funding Act, why the coffers have run dry, why they can't pay staffers. But the issue around the conference, what I read it as, is the ANC's got no money to a point where they're asking media houses to help them host their own conference. It's ridiculous. They can't do that. And I think we fought that, and that's fallen away. But it is a question for me around Paul Mashatile, again, the bishop, Holy Trinity. I don't think he's been successful as Treasurer General. If salaries go unpaid for months on end, that's your responsibility. That as a deputy president, we're still, possibly as a president of the ANC, you must have question marks as South Africans, because the ANC is the governing party. So that's my question mark around money and Paul Mashatile specifically. This conference is overseen by the Electoral Committee. They never had it before. They conceptualized it years ago, brought it to life a few years ago to oversee this particular conference. The idea behind the Electoral Committee is to do two things: to kill slate politics and to curb the use of money in ANC processes. ANC branches were said to have been corrupted as far back as 2007. I think it goes further than that. But what they saw in 2007 and worse still in 2017 with those CR bank statements where big business is said to have been behind a campaign for Ramaphosa to become president is an issue. So they've got the Electoral Committee that's saying, we have rules now.
And South Africans were disgusted when you saw, you know, we've got this rampant poverty. They're all rocking up in the rolls and the jets and the the big banquets. Those days, apparently,
That's an attempt. That's an
in
attempt.
public,
In public,
Over.
of course, Jane. It's an attempt to try and curb that. They're saying to them they must stay in the same hotels. They must travel in the same buses. So private jets must not land in Gauteng with NC leaders in them. It is an attempt to try and deal with the issue, the perception. And it's not just a perception. There is an elite in the ANC. So it's trying to manage that and manage perceptions around how they roll in money while the rest of us languish in poverty. The Electoral Committee is spearheaded by former Deputy President of the ANC, Kgalema Motlanthe. The idea behind this committee is to have it oversee the conference. It pretty much is in charge of this process that the ANC is undergoing towards the 55th conference. It is overseeing the use of money. It has asked for those who are contesting candidates, their campaigns, to submit financial records so that there can be some transparency around the role of money in the ANC. The issue of money, Jane, isn't necessarily what they say it is. I think money is still playing a role in the ANC in underhanded ways. As far
because
as
it's
the
not
conference
over
concerned.
yet, is it? I mean, what about the mayors and filling in other positions? Once this is over, that bartering begins.
There is a bartering system at play, Jane. It's not just about money. You know, at the current conversation around this conference is Funamatulusi, the tools of the trade. ANC Treasurer General Hopeful Pule Mabe saying to me a few weeks ago that when you go to people and you ask for support as a candidate, they say, sure, but give us the tools of the trade. And that speaks to vote buying in essence. People saying, yeah, sure, we'll support you, but where's the money at? And the bartering system isn't just about the money in exchange for a vote. It is about voting for you in exchange of positions in the future. There is a bartering system about what can I do? Scratch my back and I'll scratch yours.
So what should we be looking out for?
Jane, I think there are multiple things we need to keep an eye on with this conference. We need to keep an eye on the issue around money, these financial disclosures that have been made, whether or not they've been done to the satisfaction of the Electoral Committee. The committee does exist with the aim of helping set the ANC correct. So what it achieves or doesn't achieve tells you a very big story about where the ANC is. I think we need to watch the personalities that are fighting out for positions in the ANC and where those go, because also these are the leaders who will be going out to communities come 2024 asking for a buy-in into the ANC's messaging towards those particular general elections. And for me, it's what this conference closes with as far as policy positions are concerned, because that for me speaks to whether or not the ANC understands where the country is, what challenges South Africans are facing. If the ANC comes out with strong policies around issues of employment and trying to rejuvenate the economy, then you know the ANC has some understanding of where we are, that it's moved beyond diagnosis and is serious about implementing particular ideas. If it comes up with practical steps that need to be taken to deal with socio-economic issues, it says something. If it also comes up with practical steps about sorting itself out and trying to be more outward looking, then maybe there's some redeeming qualities. At this point in time, I'm willing to bet you this 100 Rand that we might not get that.